and Comms at AMBA BGA.
And I'm Ellen. I'm Insight Content and PR Manager.
So this session is going to be, it's a session of two halves. Halfway through, I'm going to hand over to my colleague Victor Hedenberg, who's sitting there ready and waiting, and so he'll do the second half of the presentation. But for this first half, we're going to take you through some of our latest research reports, give you some of the insights. It's kind of a bit of a dip into each report, and we'll be able to point you in the direction of getting more information on them later on. But also, just to keep you on your toes, we're going to make this session interactive. So hopefully if you're feeling a bit tired and you had a bit too much lunch and you need something to wake you up, we've got some polls that we'd like you to do. So can I ask you to get your phone out and scan the QR code? I'll give you a little bit of time to do that. So yeah, so there'll be some questions coming a little bit later on. So you've got a little bit of a break. We'll take you through some other stuff before we do that. Everybody, is that enough? I'll give you a little bit longer. Brilliant. Okay, thanks everyone. Just before we dive into the research, I just wanted to give you a little bit of background on my team at AMBA BGA. So we are the marketing and communications team. We have a fairly wide remit, but obviously our absolute raison d'etre is to raise the profile of our network and its achievements, but also to champion the importance of accreditation generally. So we do that in a number of ways. We use a number of channels. I really hope you're following us on social media. We've got a really good network on LinkedIn. So I think I saw earlier that we were about to hit 24,000 followers on LinkedIn. So there's a really good community of people there, and we spend a lot of time on that channel kind of promoting the business schools in our network and putting out content from our magazines and things like that. So hopefully you find the content interesting. We also, the other side of what we do is about supporting the students and graduates in our network, and a piece of research that we're going to take you through today is focused on our student and graduate audience. And we conduct research, that's the main part of this session. The whole point of that is to give you insights that have come directly from our network, both from our business school audience and our student and graduate audience. As I said, we use social media as one of our main channels, but we also communicate via email. We do lots of PR work. And just generally, one of our reasons for being is marketing AMBA and BGA and its products and services. So things like this event today, that's my team have put a lot of time into getting you all here. So thank you very much for coming along. So I'm now going to hand over to Ellen, who's going to take you through the first research.
Thank you very much. So the first research report we're going to talk about is application and enrolment. Many of you will know that this is a yearly report. We're currently collecting the data for this year, so if you haven't already sent me the template, please do, you're late. So yes, this report collects all the application, enrolment and some diversity data from each of your MBA programs. This study from 2024 covers the results of the 2023 year. We got a total of 259 schools giving their templates back, and 233 of those did it year on year. So we're able to compare, and that's where most of the data comes from today. So to begin with, talk about applications and enrolments, and it's good news. So we had a 3% increase of applications per school this year, as well as a 5% increase in enrolments. So that means that business schools were able to convert interest into students. And it was not just universal across the board like this. Africa saw a particularly high number of applications increasing, and that was when we spoke to them from marketing, alumni relations, and creating really locally relevant programs. And also we saw a huge rise in India as well, and that was just from domestic demand. And it's really positive, but that's not surprising considering kind of the usual pattern of MBA applications going up when there's an economic downturn. And also QS have suggested that we're now on a post-COVID boost because people who decided to stay in their jobs during COVID are now kind of creeping out into education again. But it's not every school that's getting this little rise in applications. GMAC said that 65% of their top-rated schools grew, compared to just 48% of those below the top 50. And that shows that reputation really matters. It's not just the academics, it's the return on investment. So it shows that the market is really discerning. Next, I'm going to talk to you about diversity in the MBA programs. So in 2023, 40% of all enrollees were women, and that's a really strong base. There was a little dip this year, but still we're seeing general progress. India and Oceania saw the highest amount of growth in women enrollees, and that was down to scholarships, a cultural shift, and sustained outreach. When we're talking about international applications, international applications grew by 3%, and enrolment went down by 2%. So that shows that their interest is there, but there are like lots of hurdles. And this was confirmed by GMAC, whose research showed that business schools really do engage with underrepresented students, but visa restrictions, affordability and flexibility really stop them from enrolling. LinkedIn also did a report, and it also showed that women were really seeking education, but cost, flexibility and perceived cultural fit was really stopping them from going forward and enrolling. So the key takeaway from this is that we can't just stop at recruitment. You need to go into retention. So are you designing inclusive systems? For example, are your scholarships actually filling gaps, or are your alumni stories really showing from a diverse background? And finally, in this part of application enrolment, we're going to talk about format. So the big trend here was it's not just what students are studying, it's how. So this year, 62% of programs were delivered part-time, and 66% of those were classroom-based. Online dropped to just 11%. And that shows a really clear preference for hybrid. So it shows that students want structure and prestige, but they also want flexibility. So although it came from COVID, blended isn't just a pandemic legacy, it's a foundation of the next generation of MBAs, and schools should be using their format as a key differentiator. And with that, I'm going to pass it back to Leo, and she's going to have some fun with you with some polls.
So earlier this year, we conducted a survey amongst our student and graduate audience, and we asked them a number of questions about lifelong learning, networking and micro-credentials. And we're going to focus on the lifelong learning and the micro-credentials bit of it today. So the interactive bit is that we're going to ask you some of the questions that we asked them, and then we'll show you the results from them, and well, we'll have a bit of fun and see how they compare. So the first question we asked them, just some baseline questioning, was, do you consider yourself a lifelong learner? So hopefully it's popped up on your, having scanned the QR code. Excellent. Here we go. Okay. So, I mean, given the audience that you are, it would have been really surprising if we got anything less than 100%. So we absolutely expected that to be the case. So I'll just, in case anyone else is answering, just give it a couple more seconds, and then I'm going to click on. And it won't surprise you to know that our audience felt exactly the same. So 98% of them did consider themselves to be lifelong learners, which is obviously really good news for business schools. So we've established that we're speaking to an audience who understands lifelong learning and is bought into the concept. But what we then wanted to know from them is, what do they count as lifelong learning? So let's ask you guys the same. Okay, so there's a bit of a varied mix there. I love this. It's really cool seeing it all coming in and out. Brilliant. Okay, I'm going to move on at this stage. So actually, as part of my research for this presentation, I wanted to know, what is lifelong learning? Just to make sure that actually I was coming from a place of some knowledge. So obviously I went to the oracle that is ChatGPT and said, what is lifelong learning? And it brought up quite a good report from Cranfield School of Management. So let's just establish that kind of basis. It was basically it's personal and professional development, continuous upskilling, reskilling for life, forever is basically what it was telling me. But that it's for career growth, but also for personal growth. It's all about self-improvement. It's voluntary. It's self-motivated. And pretty much the conclusion was it could be anything and everything that's kind of about learning. So I think these are quite interesting results that kind of despite where we are in terms of technology and things moving on, it's still the really traditional forms of learning that are coming out on top. But also it's good to see that those kind of self-motivated things as well, like micro-credentials, understanding a new culture, learning a new language, that side of it does come out really quite high, but obviously the traditional side of things is still what's winning. But in terms of food for thought for business schools and offering to alumni, there's some things there around mentoring, peer networks. There's interest there. They consider it to be lifelong learning, volunteering. I think we thought that career coaching might come a bit higher on the list, but perhaps there's an opportunity there. So, the next question for you guys. Oh, I see. You're getting it already, are you? Right, I see. Okay. Okay. So it's quite varied here, but obviously, again, you guys are kind of pushing a little bit more towards some of the more traditional things. Listening to podcasts, that's good that that's coming out quite high. Let's compare to the students. Again, traditional, very much coming out on top. Courses, workshops, seminars. Again, I say good news for business schools in terms of an offering, but the non-traditional stuff is still figuring really quite highly there. And again, perhaps an opportunity there around career enhancement coaching. So, are you already ahead of me on the next question? So, we wanted to know a bit about motivation. What motivates them to pursue it? So, yeah, I think again you're going to see in a minute that you're really quite in line with our student audience here. So, is it about personal growth? Is it about professional growth? So I'm going to move it on. So whilst personal growth and curiosity on top, professional growth is very much up there. Career is clearly an important consideration for this audience. And obviously lifelong learning enriches a career path, but as well as a personal path, and obviously the best learning journeys are the ones that combine the two. That seems to be what our audience is telling us. So that's the end of Mentimeter for now. I think we've got one more, haven't we, just hidden away. And I'm just going to move on to talking about micro-credentials. Just a show of hands here, so one last question from me. Who here has completed micro-credentials of any sort? Okay, so it's a fairly small number. As you can see, 50% of our respondents have completed micro-credentials, which we thought was that was a pretty good number. It's quite a high number. So we wanted to know what kind, what they had done in terms of platforms. So as you can see, Coursera comes out really high there, LinkedIn Learning, edX, but also as you'll see, and I'm sure that this will be of interest to you, nearly a quarter have completed micro-credentials through a business school program of some sort. So You may want to know what's in the other. I'll just give you a few. Local non-profits, Better Up, which is virtual coaching, the McKinsey Forward programme was mentioned, courses from work, so courses from their place of work, and then some other things like Open University, those specific kind of platforms. So, and topics as well that they mentioned were tech, digital skills, that was over half. Leadership and management, again, over half had covered those kind of topics. And then there was a lot of mention of very industry-specific skills as well. So in terms of motivations and challenges, as you can see, personal interest and self-improvement is still really up there in terms of what's motivating them to complete micro-credentials. But here, it's very much that career is key. It's about career advancement. So 62% cited that, 55% cited that it was a personal motivation, and just general knowledge, 51% cited that. Around challenges, lack of time, aren't we all short on time? I think that's hard when you're planning training to make that time, especially the kind of people that we're talking to who are at very specific stages in their career. Cost, again, that's always going to be a barrier. But uncertainty about value, I thought that was really quite interesting, and actually in terms of a learning point from that for a business school, that actually it clearly maybe some work needs to be done about demonstrating value and perhaps changing perceptions around how micro-credentials are viewed. So we then we knew that the schools in our network would want to know about topics. So we asked them a question about what had been the most useful and interesting courses at their business school to inform a kind of topic gathering for you guys. So there's a lot of information there. You will get these slides, and also we will be releasing the full report later this year, so you will be able to get all of this information. But just kind of a bit of a whistle-stop conclusion on this. Strategy and leadership came out top for enjoyment. Obviously that's core to your curriculum anyway, but top for enjoyment and also for usefulness. Finance, valued for utility, but even if maybe not enjoyed as much, that's, I can relate to that for definite, but I'm more of a creative person. But so the question has to be asked about how can business schools do some work to enhance enjoyment and engagement with the topic. Aligning course design with student passion is obviously and career impact seems to be something that has appeal. And perhaps there's a bit of an opportunity around reframing technical subjects to boost perceived relevance as early as possible in the learning journey. So at this stage, I'm now going to hand over to Ellen for just the final piece of research.
So earlier this year, I surveyed, hopefully a lot of you, on the top challenges, and thought just as a little beginning, I could survey you again. So if you could get your phones out one last time and pick your top 3 challenges that you're experiencing. Yeah, that's great. Nobody's having any challenges. Maybe I'm having challenges with the technology. Okay. Oh, lovely. Interesting. It's a little different than the survey results. Oh, we're creeping. Okay, I'll take it. But yeah, looks like increased competition, economic uncertainty, technology, which pretty much is the same as what we got from the survey earlier in the year. So yeah, I think no surprise that economic uncertainty came out on top, and then changing market demand. Maybe like political unrest is slightly more regional, but I think all quite important challenges. So the report and the survey I did earlier in the year deep dived into each of these challenges. So asked like what they were and how you were dealing with it as a business school. Because I don't want to take you over dinner, I'm just going to talk about the top three. So economic uncertainty, changing market demands, and increased competition right now. But yes, the report will have all of them. So starting off with the biggest challenge, we've got economic uncertainty. So just to give a little background, I said earlier that MBAs tend to do better in economic downturns, and that obviously has been a trend, but the QS has suggested that there's going to be a shift to this due to remote work and digital upskilling. They think that people will be more reluctant to take a career break and do a traditional kind of at business school degree. So if business schools can't rely on an increase in applications when there is an economic downturn, are business schools in trouble? So to go over the survey results, there's no surprise that 72% of you were very concerned about economic uncertainty. And when we drilled down into this, the top kind of thoughts were on student affordability, operational costs, and reduced public funding. And this isn't just hypothetical. 46% of you said that it was already affecting international enrolments, and 39% of you said it was already affecting domestic enrolments. But as we know, business schools are innovators. So you're not just hoping for the best, and 69% of all AMBA business schools that we surveyed said that they were already actively diversifying. And this was like a free-form question, and there was honestly so many results that were very interesting, but they kind of fell into groups of like taster and micro programs, transnational models, industry partnerships, and executive education and consulting. So it's really clear that business schools are kind of pursuing different revenue shifts to deal with the economic uncertainty. And when we asked what the kind of worries for the future in regards to this were, they were rising inflation and declining government funding. So to go to our second biggest challenge for business schools, it's shifting market demand. So as we know, the MBA market is growing, but it's also transforming at the same time. So 72% of schools were experiencing difficulties due to this shifting market demand. And a massive 84% of business schools had seen a significant shift in student expectations in the last 5 years. And it's clear that students aren't just buying a degree, they want this toolkit to deal with this uncertainty. And business schools are responding to this by kind of creating new courses and focusing on ethics and responsibility, responsible management, digital data literacy, and innovation and entrepreneurial thinking. And of course, we can't talk about shifting market demands without talking about AI. Carrington Crisp said that the AI was the most popular topic for MBA students the last 2 years. And the good news is business schools are dealing with this pretty well. The majority of business schools we surveyed, 63%, said that they were somewhat prepared to prepare students for a tech-powered workforce. 6% said they were very prepared, and 15% said they were not ready. So most of you are kind of getting there, I think. And on the final challenge, is increased competition. So 80% of leaders said they were struggling with increased competition in the market, which is not a surprise, but I was very surprised about where it was coming from. So business schools think that the primary threat is other business schools. So 42% of you said that your biggest competition was business schools inside of your own country. 32% of you said it was business schools globally, and only 8% said other providers, which I was super surprised at because of like the explosion of online education providers. For those 8% who did say other, they said online learning platforms, corporate training, and boot camps and short-term courses were their main competition. And that shows that business schools are still benchmarking themselves off of each other. But in the future, I think competitors might not even call themselves business schools. Tech providers don't have the brand, don't have the accreditation, and don't have the faculty of business schools, but they do have speed, scale, and price transparency. So when we asked business schools how they were dealing with this increased competition, again, it was a free-form text, but they fell into kind of groups of, they said they were implementing changes to existing programs, creating new program formats, and investing in marketing, recruitment, and branding. And again, looking into the future, you're all pretty confident. So when asked how confident do you feel that your business school will remain competitive in the future, 39% of you were very confident, 52% were somewhat confident, and only 8% were not confident. And I think that really rings true for all the results of this survey. It pointed to some very clear challenges that are kind of globally happening. But when we surveyed if you were confident for the future, those results were really high. So I think what we can see is business schools our innovators are able to get past all of these challenges. And yeah, we're going to remain relevant. So that's the end of the research. I'm around the whole conference if you have any ideas for future research or have any kind of specific questions. But I'm going to pass you over to Victor, who's going to talk to you about membership.
Thank you so much, Alan and Leo. So yes, I'm Victor Hedenberg. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the membership director. So did you know that you also, as being part of the network, have access to a lot of membership benefits that are supposed to help your business schools? And we do this in a lot of different ways. So it seems to me when I speak to a lot of schools, I say, well, so have you been using the membership services? And they're like, So it's completely, I've got to start from scratch. So I thought it would be a good idea to go over the sort of benefits that you guys have access to, so that, if there's something you're ever interested in doing in the future, you can do so. The first of the services that we do for all the BGA member schools out there, AMBA schools can make use of it too, but that is a paid-for service, an extra £500 for schools who want to do the program review, who are AMBA accredited. For BGA schools, it's free of charge. It's a program consultancy review. The idea behind it is basically that if you're in the process of redesigning a program, or let's say you're interested in benchmarking a program already in existence against other similar ones across the network, you can do so. So let's say you have an MBA and it's more focused on healthcare management. Maybe you want to receive some insight and feedback in terms of how your curriculum compares, or maybe how your recruitment strategy looks like, your marketing strategy, what your average spend per student is. All of that is covered in the program review. And so it's a really nice tool for you if you're in that process of thinking, well, how does our MBA really, or other program, could be UG, PG, any kind, how does it compare to other business schools out there, and what can we do to improve our curriculum or pedagogy, or maybe how you just position that particular program. So I believe, Neil, you did the one for your school two times, right? Or once, yes, exactly. Okay, great. Yeah, so helpful. You heard it from the man himself. I'm not making this stuff up. So you've got the program review. That's a really great way of benchmarking your program. You've also got the student membership, and I think this is one thing that a lot of schools miss out on as well. We do it for both your MBA as well as all the other UG and PG students. We've got a full networking platform and career development center for them. The Career Development Center is basically a way for them to upload their CV. And what we do is we use an ATL system, the same system that the big McKinseys, PwCs, and so forth use when they want to check and see the CV, how the CV compares to what they're looking for. In most cases, more than 90% of the CVs are never even looked at by a human being. So if your students want a shot, at least see if their CVs will pass the system. So they can upload their current CVs and see whether it would pass the system. You have to get, I think, above a 95% rate to get past the system. So if you don't get that, you're basically cooked alongside another 70,000 people. So this is a great way of allowing them to see that. But once you've done that, you go on to the next step. We've got an interview practice mode for them. The moment has come when AI can do it for us. So basically, they'll sit in front of a camera, and the AI will start asking questions related to their CV. You can pick questions out of a particular industry you're interested in, but I always felt that the CV one is more relevant. And we'll ask usually anywhere from 5 to 10 questions. And it picks up things such as your tonality, how often you smile, how often you say stuff and like. We say those sometimes. And it gives you a graph over how well you performed during that entire practice interview. So you can see exactly where your weaknesses are. It might have been eye contact. It might have been actually that you never smiled and looked very sour the entire time. Who knows? But it will pick that up. Now, once you've done that, you move on to the next part, which is the job search. We are now going to introduce another component to this, because yes, you can find jobs. It pulls from places like LinkedIn, Indeed, many other places, so you don't have to go to each individual source. You just pick the salary range, the type of job, internship or full-time job, and it pulls all of those for you in whichever country or region you're in. But now you'll also be able, later this summer, be able to find recruiters. So if you're interested in finding a recruiter in your particular country, you'll get a full database of who the main contacts are at those recruitment agencies, so you can get in touch with them, send your already ATS-approved CV, and get them over to them. So that's a really nice tool for them to use. And of course, we have a lot of short courses, free short courses, anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes long. They serve as basically like reminders, because once your students graduate, they keep their membership free of charge. So they can always go back and take these short courses. It might be something in leadership, could be in finance, could be something such as change management, but all of those are covered there, and we always update them. Yeah. It's for anyone who wants to learn a particular topic or subject, or get a reminder sort of session. So for instance, usually anywhere from 30 to 60 minute long lecture, and talking usually about the principles or the fundamentals, and it goes by pretty quickly. The idea is that you've already learned this in the past, but maybe you've forgotten. I mean, I forget things all the time, and I'm not even that old. So you can always go back and re-watch these sort of things in case you need a reminder sort of session. That's the idea. Neil. Oh yeah, absolutely. And in fact, every time you upload a different CV, it'll ask you different questions. So you can make up, you can be a marine biologist if you want to, and it'll start asking you questions on that. So it will tailor that, and it uses, because it's an AI, it pulls from a database as well, from jobs and what sort of questions would be relevant for those particular jobs. So it's not easy. I'll tell you that. I've tried it out a couple of times. So, but the second part of the student membership is that they get access to the entire network too. So we've got the same membership platform that the faculty and schools make use of. We've got a full membership platform for them too. Basically, if they ever want to contact someone from a particular country, or someone who's done an executive MBA or whatever it is they're looking for, they can find that. It's more than 75,000 people. But more importantly, we've got a mentorship page as well. So if you're looking for mentorship opportunities, someone who is, let's say you just graduated, you're looking to start up a business and you have some problems and you're looking for a mentor who's done this successfully in the past, you can do so. So that's a really useful tool, I think. And then of course, we've got the thought leadership. You may have seen, well, actually, you've not have seen it, because the articles were stopped in Köln, I believe, so they haven't made it here yet. But basically, it's our business impact and ambition magazines. Basically, we do feature stories of each school, of the research that you work on, any activities that might be of interest to everyone else. It's a really great way to feature your institution and the work that you're doing. Sometimes other schools will reach out and say, hey, look, I want to work with this institution. Sounds really interesting. So they'll reach out to myself or the other people on the membership team, and so we make introductions that way. So if you've got some geniuses on your team, faculty members, or maybe you're a genius yourself, get your content featured. I would say that's a great way. And take part in surveys like, Ellen and Leo do, constantly, continuously updating you on what's trending at the moment. We also got this really cool thing called capacity building workshops. It's a long name, but the idea is sometimes you need to have discussions or events where you need to have just one particular topic and where you can all discuss it openly. So the idea of the workshop is it's a one-day event. It's very regional. It's all about engaging in that particular topic of interest. So it could be how to, for instance, position your MBA. It could be how you align with the sustainable development goals. We did one on how to build international partnerships and not MOUs. We have a lot of MOUs, but not necessarily great partnerships. So the capacity building workshops are aiming to do that, and we've done them all over the world, and they're free of charge. So if you ever see one and you want to come to them, please do. We did one in Tashkent just recently. Debbie and I did that. We've done them in India, 3 of them in India actually this year. We're going to do one in Paris later this year too. We're looking to do something in Scandinavia. So there's a lot of different ones all over the world. China, we do that for a year. So if you're ever interested, go to our website, go under events and workshops, and you'll find all the events listed there. I heard the MBA Directors Club took off like a rocket this morning. So that's another benefit for all our AMBA accredited schools, is that if you have an MBA accredited, you can take part in the MBA Directors Club. And that's not just at our events, but we're going to keep the discussions going on our membership platform. The one-to-one networking support. So one of the reasons why you have a membership team is that you can speak to myself, to Debbie, to Shika, everyone else in the membership team. If you have any questions about engaging with other institutions, we can help you. So maybe you say, I spoke to someone today this morning who wanted to work with a school that had a very strong healthcare focus, so I'm going to make some introductions for them there. Another school that was really interested in I think it was the energy sector. So basically helping schools network and make those introductions rather than having to look for institutions, and sometimes knocking on the door is not received at all. So we're happy to make those introductions for you. Just let us know what you're looking for. And then last but not least, we've got the membership platform. So I'm sure you've seen it around here and there, but we've launched the membership platform last year. We're adding things to it all the time, and we're going to spend a lot of time on it in this summer as well. But the idea here is that you can keep the conversation going after each event, each workshop you go to. So if you want to download presentations, find the people who went to the event, find photos, engage in discussions, look at the rewatch webinars or podcasts that we've done. Everything can be found on the membership platform. We've got more than 14,000 academics now on the platform. So if you're looking for anyone, I'm sure they're on there. I'm not going to show you the entire. This is what the membership platform basically looks like. It's a 3-minute long video. I don't think I only have 1 minute and 50 seconds. So, but anyways, this is what it looks like. You can see all upcoming events, the groups you're part of. If you're interested in, say, AMBA accreditation, you can go into that. You can see the accreditation directors and speak with them, and just supposed to make things a lot easier and like basically a central hub for everyone who belongs to the AMBA and BGA network. We have more on this on the website, of course. And if you want to know where we are, who we are, that's us. Got myself, got Debbie here in the room. We've got Shika, who handles all our Indian business schools. She's taken the whole region by storm too. We've got Georgia, who handles all the administrative aspects. So if you ever need support on the membership platform, she's great. And we've got Melissa, who's currently on maternity cover, but she does more of the account management side as well. So that's the team. I've got 57 seconds left, so I mean, I think I'm doing pretty good here. But you've got a QR code if you're ever interested in, if you haven't created your account yet on the membership platform, you can do that now. And with that, any questions to us, or?
I think we're out of time.
We're out of time. Sorry, guys.
But we're here for the whole conference,
Yeah.
so if you have any questions, please do come and find us. And
Absolutely.
if you could all make your way back to the main room for the next session
Yes,
now, please.
exactly. Thank you so much.